have so much on my mind. I think I want to do a video every day this week. This happened, like, I have so many topics I want to talk about, like the time that I dated a nudist and being a whole person and all those kind of things, right? But this happened to me today. this I met this random man and we were talking. When he was talking to me, he was a chatty Cathy, more so than I. And he said that he was thinking about dating this blind woman. Now, he was not blind, he was fully functional. The main thing is this. Let me just do a little bit of background. Let me see how I'm going to tell it. Let me tell his version first. So, his whole story was that he worked in radio, but like behind the scenes type thing. And he also volunteered at a fire department, like a firehouse. He helped people who went through like cardiac arrest or may have lost consciousness to like navigate them through the hospital process and get in contact with their family. He also gave tours at his local fire station to people with handicaps and disability. And he really has a heart for that. So he meets this lady who is a physical therapist. She's highly functional. She has a dog that tells her like that she can tell to walk, and the dog will take her and the dog out for a walk. And she can tell the dog to go home, and the dog knows how to go home. They live kind of close together. There you have it. His main concern is not her disability. His main thing is he is afraid of hurting her if it doesn't work out, because she was not always blind and she had some kind of hurt. And he did say that she was lonely, okay? He is also concerned about like initiating intimacy. He said that she had gave him clues, but he wasn't trying to talk about like the whole shebang, but even just kissing her, because it goes back to hurting her in the long run. And like for me, I'm listening to this story and I'm just like, whoa, you are one of a kind. Like, I don't know too many people who would even consider it, because, and I told him, I said, most people are out on the take. They're looking for somebody to give to them. And he said, he looked at me with like such a confused look on his face and almost disgusted too. And he was like, what do you mean? Because I would be allowing her to see the world through my eyes. Like that, he said he would be receiving so much from that. So that's a whole different kind of mentality that I am used to, because let's just face it, I have known people to be 100% healthy and come down with like breast cancer, and their boyfriends or even their husbands leave them because it's too much to bear. Like they may be there in the beginning and then they start to like slack off for whatever reason. So for a person to actually enter into that situation knowing it is, to me, is very commendable. I did start to think about, and I think, why is it so fascinating to me? To me, it's so fascinating because he's already thinking about his intentions, or he's thinking about not hurting her. That's the one thing that's on his mind, is that he does not want to hurt this lady. And I just thought to myself, and I never think about love and emotions and stuff. It's just not something I really think about. But it really started to make me question what is love and what are the intentions behind that, because he wasn't even thinking about going all the way. He was just thinking about even like kissing her will open up a Pandora's box of emotions. And it's one thing to enter into something with someone, and it's like, at what point do you question, if this is the right thing to do? A lot of people, and I myself, I'm guilty. I am such a go with the flow. Due to the current culture, I just cannot have expectations for people, because people are jumping out of all kind of boxes. Okay, so the only person I can have an expectation on is myself. And I just feel like if I don't have intentions behind things, like, I know I'm not trying to hurt anybody, but I feel like that allows me to see the best of a person and the most true version of a person, like, because they don't have like a reason to lie. But I did tell him it would not be her blindness that stopped me from dating her. It would be the fact that she is lonely. Because when you are lonely, you are blinded. You are not thinking correctly. That leads to desperation. And sometimes you will accept companionship that you would not normally accept just out of loneliness. And that is a heavy bag, a heavy burden to carry, even if a person does have their full faculty. So it was just like such interesting food for thought for me to think about. Like, when do I actually consider what my intentions are going to be with the person? And I probably should start to think about ways that I know that I don't intentionally try to hurt people, but like trying to avoid hurting people in a way. Like, it was so interesting to me that he would look past the disability and think about her as an individual. I think that part is lacking in a lot of people. We'll look past a lot of things but we're not really like looking at the heart of a person or looking at a person's whole personal history and emotional state. Now, I did tell him that it was hard for me to date somebody who didn't eat carbohydrates because I'm like, I can go along and say, oh, I don't eat carbs either. I'm all health conscious and everything. And then after a few days, I want to go eat some pasta or some pizza. And the person's like, I don't eat carbs. So it may be all fun and gravy in the beginning, but once you have to walk that life with somebody, it's a whole different scenario. And that's my current level of maturity. And I consider myself to be like highly conscious, but it's so funny to me because I am a consciousness person and I'm not like, I'm very tolerant, you know what I mean? But it's so funny to me because you can meet people who are like really like stuck into like this either like this nonchalant world or like maybe like a religious world. Like if you're my culture, if you're my religion, then we can talk. But what about having like that real moral code within yourself that says, you know what, I am not going to put myself in a situation that could hurt another person. That to me had like the lasting impact of the whole conversation. Like I was completely fascinated by it. I didn't really like have any advice to him. I just told him to like, just be her platonic friend and go out and, experience things together as a platonic friend and see how it develops from there. Like, I don't think one of my other friends is like, oh, he's being a coward. Like cowards die daily because they never allow themselves to live. But a real person dies only once because they live life to the fullest every day. And I don't think that's the case when it concerns people's emotions. It is highly important to be careful with other people's emotions because you'll never know when you'll find yourself in a certain kind of emotional state and the kind of tender, loving care